What are the phases of an IT project? There are certain phases you have to go through. Of course, there's the analysis. And what we mean by the analysis of the project is the concept. We think about the concept of it. The concept. The initiation of it. We initiate it. We think, does it fit in with the objectives, what we want to do? Does it meet the requirements of the project? So that's the analysis. We think about all those things. Why do we want it? You know, what's the concept of it? Does it fit in? Is it going to do the job? From there, then we start to look at the design of the project or the process or the plan. And that project, we start to formalise what we need to do. The specifications, the software, the planning, we define it. We start to think about the prioritising of it. What do we need to put into order? And later on we'll discuss a prioritising situation, how we should do that. So that's the design aspect of it. Then we start to develop it. We do things like maybe start to develop or look at developing the hardware. What do we need? The manuals, the resources, the data and everything. We might need to work out who are going to run all of this. So that's the development stage. So in the design, we've got such things as formulating or formalising the specs of it, specifications, specs were right there. And in the development, we started looking at developing the things, maybe the hardware, the manuals, the resources, or the manual. We look at those things. We don't actually develop those things, but we look at that to put into our plan. They're the things that we need to develop. Then we start to do the testing of it. And what do we mean by the testing? What we mean by the testing, we start to think, well, how will we test all of these things? The software and the hardware, does it align in together with everything? When do we complete the manuals? Are the manuals completed? We start to look at the control, the performance control. So we start to think about, how do we test it? How do we know the performance is right? Performance. Pardon my back. We started making sure we have completion of things that we can test. So when are we going to complete it? Completion. Pardon my spelling. And then the last phase, of course, is the implementation or the release. You know, and at that stage, if we were doing something, it might be the stage where we release it to the customer, we evaluate the success of it. You know, we might do a review after a period of time, but we make sure all the manuals are done, all the hardware works, the manuals and the software are all released. In fact, it's the whole end of the project. Analyse, design, develop, test, implement. Think about the concept. Start to think about designing all the specifications you need, what you need to look for in your project plan. Start to develop the things, look at all your human resources, your hardware resources, your software resources, everything that you need. Start to test it all out, then implement it, put it into practice. The 5 phases of IT.